My game prediction of the Titans winning 20-17 was mostly proven wrong. The Titans lost to the Bills 14 to 7. Henry didn't run for more than 90 yards, but he did run for more than 72 yards. He didn't run for more than 90 yards. He ran for more than 72 yards, so he was effective. He did run for one touchdown, so I ended up getting that right. Mario didn't throw for one touchdown. He threw for 0 touchdowns. Titans defense had one turnover, and that was one interception instead of 2 interceptions like I predicted. And Titans ended up losing 14 to 7, and it was a close, competitive, good, low-scoring game because 21 points. And the Titans were able to. This was a highly frustrating game to watch, and the kind of result that was just so extremely disappointing that I'm not even going to say I was a 10. This was 500 for how disappointed I was, because this was a challenging except winnable game for the Titans, and they were able to get a turnover, an interception, and I think it was in the third quarter. It was in the second half, which was needed, and they were able to take advantage of that with moved the football, and Henry was able to jump into the end zone after getting the football running, and jumped in the end zone for a touchdown to get the game tied. And the Titans had an effective drive in the third quarter, then going into the fourth quarter, and it really looked like the Titans were going to be able to score, except then they had the issues of, even when it looked like Henry ran more than 10 yards for a touchdown, it was brought back because of an obvious hold, self-destructing. And I think there's some other play why they weren't able to score a touchdown before that. Maybe it was an incomplete pass or something. And then I know on third and goal, Mariota was running. He was looking for an open Titan. He couldn't find an open Titan, so logically he ran to avoid getting sacked. And then finally found an open Titan, threw it into the end zone for a touchdown, except the issue is because he was clearly over the line. So that's on. While I understand why that happened, that's still on Mariota. That's the biggest. If there's one biggest mistake he made, that was it right there. Because if he's able to throw the football before he gets over the line, and while still running, if he would have stopped earlier and then just throw that football, then the Titans would have been going ahead 13 to 7, assuming they score the extra point 14 to 7, which would be a big momentum changer, because they were not leading the first quarter, they weren't leading the second quarter, they weren't leading the third quarter. They would be leading early fourth quarter, and it would show that effective drive they had actually showed fruit with scoring points on the scoreboard. And that would be a huge achievement, because they were playing against a Bills defense that has proven through 5 games that it is effective. They were able, even though they lost to the Patriots, they held them to 6. They ended up losing only 16 to 10. They were able to hold the only Patriots touchdown that they scored was a blocked punt, and then recover. Then it was either recovered in the end zone or returned, and they returned it for a touchdown. So the only touchdown that the Patriots even scored in Buffalo was a special teams play as a result of a blocked punt. And so that was a Virginia Tech Hokies kind of special teams kind of play. And what was also highly detrimental or dreadful in this game was also made it challenging. So if they would have scored that touchdown, I would have been extremely happy. Because finally they got the lead, and I wouldn't have doubt. And that would have been the second touchdown by Henry, and that would have been a big statement, because they didn't stop the locomotive. He didn't just score one. He scored 2 touchdowns, and on that second touchdown, he made the Bills defense look really freaking terrible, because he just ran past them. He was looking like he was freaking Eddie George or Earl Campbell. And so when I saw on the replay, it looked like, I can understand why Conklin, he did do the hold, but it really looked like that even if he didn't do the hold, and if he just effectively blocked, that Henry would have been able to run into the end zone for a touchdown. So that was extremely frustrating. And it was also extremely frustrating that Mariota had a rookie-style mistake of he went beyond the line before throwing that was over the line when he threw the football. So 2 wasted plays because of obvious penalties. One on an O-line penalty because on an O-line, the other on Mariota. And so Henry carried the football team on his back because he was why the Titans were able to score that first touchdown and a main reason why the Titans were moving the football, and he was also going to be the main reason why the Titans scored a second touchdown if Conklin hadn't held a Buffalo Bills defender. So Henry, he was an effective player, and he was carrying the football team on his back, not entirely, but he was carrying the team on his back and showing that he could, because would have scored that important, needed second touchdown, and which I wanted to see, and wouldn't have doubt that the Bills' defense, finally having given up on a second offensive touchdown, they would have been highly frustrated, and most likely there'd been multiple Bills players, defense, going to the sideline. They would have thrown their helmets on the ground or against the wall, etc. So didn't get to see that. And the Bills, once again, were able to move the football and then score a touchdown to go ahead to 14-7. Lead they wouldn't relinquish, and it was highly frustrating the Titans weren't able to get one last final stop to give the Titans offense a chance to actually get this game tied, because there was Allen fooling the Titans defense and running for a first down. There was also Gore running for a first down, I think on the side, or some other Bills running back. And another play that just went up the middle for more than 15 yards. So it was extremely frustrating. The Titans defense wasn't able to get the stop when needed most, really late in this game. And also, can't get on the Titans as far as reasons why the Titans lost this game. I can also go back to Santos. He missed 4 field goals, including a makeable, I think it was 27 yards because it was short. That was extremely disappointing to watch, along with 3 other field goals, including one that wasn't even close. It was more than 50 yards long, and it went wide right. Because when it didn't have the power, there were 2 ones where it didn't have the power, it was in the wrong spot. When it was in the right spot, he didn't have enough power. Saw that 3 times, well, 4 times to be exact, but only 2 were. If he was just able to get in the right spot, then it would have been made. So there was 3 field goals that weren't even close, and the one that was close to being made didn't have enough power. So that was extremely frustrating to watch, to see Santos, the Titans kicker, go 0 for 4, because sometimes you have to rely on a kicker to win football games. Saw in the Cornhuskers Wildcats game, they were able to win 13-10 in a low-scoring game, and the Patriots had to rely on their kicker since they were only able to score 1 touchdown. That they were able to win 16-10. And the Buccaneers had to rely on their kicker to beat the Giants, and they didn't get that needed game-winning field goal. They ended up losing. They ended up losing to the Giants. So sometimes you got to rely on your kicker, whether for most of your offense or for a play really, really late in the game. So that's a reason why the Titans ended up losing this game, because Santos was 0 for 4. If he had just made 3 of 4 field goals, then the Titans would have won, assuming their defense would have been able to defend 16 to they would have won this game 16-7, assuming their defense would have been able to defend, if Santos had just made 3 of 4 field goals, including that makeable one of 27 yards where he just didn't have enough power. He just didn't use enough power. So that's a reason. Another reason being the fact that the Titans, they gave up. I get under the first touchdown that they gave up. That was blown coverage, so that was a really terrible mistake by the defense for that first Bills touchdown. The second one, I could see why it was less terrible was, I could just say, bad because a Bills player was able to get open with a narrow window, and the Bills were able to, still on the Titans defense, they weren't able to defend, but that one was less terrible because it wasn't blown coverage as much as a narrow window that they weren't able to effectively defend for the Bills' second touchdown. And then another being the fact that Santos missed 4 field goals. If he just makes 3 of 4, then the Titans, assuming the Titans defense is able to defend, they win this game 16-14. And also Mariota, he made that one dreadful mistake of he was over the line, and if he's not over the line when he threw the pass, it was caught for a touchdown, except it wasn't allowed because he was over the line. And also the Titans offensive lineman Conklin, if he doesn't hold, then Henry's able to run in for a touchdown. Titans go up 14-7. And so those are all the reasons. So there's a lot of blame to go around for why the Titans lost this 14-7 game, with one primarily being Santos. He's at the top, having missed 4 field goals. Another being the Titans defense, having given up. If they don't give up on that bust, they don't have that busted coverage, and maybe the Bills are just held to a field goal. And along with the Titans defense giving up 2 long drives, both touchdowns to the Bills. And Mariota going over the line when he threw that pass, which would have been the Titans' needed second touchdown. And also the Titans' O-line, Conklin holding on what most likely, if he doesn't, then just effectively blocks it, Henry's going to run in for a touchdown, second Titans touchdown. So at the top, I'm putting Santos a close second with the Titans' defense, including the fact that they had that blown coverage with the Bills' first touchdown. And then also I'll put at a close second Mariota being over the line when he threw that pass, going for why the touchdown wasn't allowed, and Conklin also holding. If he doesn't hold, then Henry runs in for a touchdown. So at the top, I'm putting Santos. Close second, tied. There's Conklin with the holding penalty. Mariota going over the line when he threw, he was over the line when he threw that pass. It was caught for a touchdown. Why it wasn't allowed. And Titans defense giving up 2 long drives, which included the Bills' first touchdown, which had blown coverage, and the Bills' second touchdown, which was a narrow window, but it was still terrible because the Bills moved the ball more than 25 yards to get that second touchdown. So the Titans defense was not effectively defended enough to keep the Bills out of the end zone, not just once, but twice. Not once, twice. And that's dreadful, terrible when you're in one of these low-scoring 14-7 kind of games. Since it was, the Titans did enough. They fought, and they weren't able to. That's why I'm utterly disappointed in 500. This was a kind of loss that I just utterly hate because it was a challenging except winnable game at home, and the Titans weren't able to win at home, losing to a good Bills defense with an effective defense that has kept them in most games. Even that Patriots game, they weren't able to win in Buffalo. And so it was extremely frustrating to watch. This was disappointed. 500 is how disappointed I am. And this was kind of a loss where I just wish I hadn't watched the game at all. And also the kind of loss where I just wish I could freaking sleep in for the next 6 days until the Titans play the Broncos on Sunday. That's how frustrating, disappointing, and dreadful seeing that loss was. And if I were to so I give all the credit to the Bills because they usually prove me wrong, including the fact that they won 14-7, so the Titans winning 20-17, which was highly off because the Titans were 13 points away from that 20. Bills were 3 points away from the 17 I predicted, so they were mostly in the ballpark. The Bills won 14-7. The Titans didn't win 20-17, so they proved me hugely wrong, along with all the other details in my prediction that I mentioned. So, hats off to the Buffalo Bills for a great impressive, challenging win in Nashville, 14-7. But I would put a visual to how freaking frustrated and unhappy I was, furious I was, it'd be right there. Superman, ready to fight, ready to use his heat vision. I put that as a visual representation of how disappointed I was with the Titans losing this winnable, challenging except winnable game, 14-7 versus the Bills in Nashville.